I want to talk about a video that I just watched maybe about 10 minutes ago. The video was about a guy basically talking about how he feels like he maybe wasted his life. And I've been kind of feeling sort of similar thoughts, or at least having maybe like a fear that I may not be like maximizing my life as much as I could. And it kind of made me think, and obviously this guy's kind of speaking from, you know, his own perspective and whatnot, and his life, you know, is different than mine, right? He had his own unique, I guess, events that happened in his life. But I don't know, I just thought it was funny. It was just a random video that I clicked on, and you know, it kind of made me remember, I've kind of been having, I guess, this thought cycle on and off of like, oh no, you know, it seems like life's moving really fast, right? Seems like life is moving very, very fast, and I almost feel like I don't have like the reins in, or the reins pulled in on life, you know what I mean? Like it's getting ahead of me. And I don't know. It's kind of a scary feeling, I guess. And videos like I just watched may not help with that feeling, I guess. But it's kind of, I guess, in a way related to the thoughts that I've been having, because I kind of have the same fear, you know, like you're young, everything's good, seems like you have a ton of time ahead of you, and then you blink and, you know, 20 years goes by, let's say, and you're like, wait, what just happened? You know what I mean? You're kind of like, oh no. Because I think you can maybe get like so lost in the day-to-day that you kind of go offline, I guess I'll call it. You know what I mean? Like you kind of like, you're not really thinking in, I guess, like maybe like a third person perspective of your life. You're not kind of like looking, you're not out looking in, I guess. And I think if you do that for long enough, once you do kind of like come back online and realize like, oh crap, all this time has passed, and like, what have I done? I think that can be scary. And it's happened on a very micro scale for me. But it's still like pretty impactful. It kind of just makes you, at least for me, it kind of just gives me like a ton of like worry. Because, you know, I mean, we are finite, right? We have a finite amount of time here. So when you feel like maybe you haven't maximized even a portion of that, you can definitely start to panic. But yeah, I just thought it was interesting because this particular guy was kind of going, he was just talking about the different like decades, I guess we'll call it, in his life, and you know, how he may have not handled it the best way or whatnot. But I don't know, I kind of wanted to pose the question, like, is there a best way? Is there a best way? Does anybody handle it in a super calculated way, I guess? Like, is there anybody that can recall that, like, yep, like when I was like this age, you know, I was pretty, you know, I knew everything, right? Like I knew, like I It's like that classic thing of like hindsight's always 2020. Like, I don't know, is there anybody in the world that's like, yep, I did everything exactly how it needed to happen, I guess, or they did everything according to plan, you know what I mean? I don't know if that's even a thing. And maybe if that's the case where that's not really a thing with anybody, then that might be a reason to not worry, I guess. However, I don't think that it's a reason to not worry and just do whatever. I think if you're aimless, you know, if you just kind of go through life aimlessly, you'll not really like do anything notable, most likely. Or you may run into this issue where if you're kind of just aimless for so long, right? Maybe small sections of your life being aimless isn't bad. But if you're aimless for maybe a longer section of your life, you may find yourself at a point where you kind of like come back online, essentially, as I was stating earlier. You may kind of freak out or may have a mini panic happen. And that's kind of sort of what happened with me. And, you know, after I kind of thought on it, or after I had time to maybe reflect on it or whatnot, or really think about it, you know, that feeling went away. But it's been hitting me like a lot every now and then. Maybe it's a situation where when it hits me, it's, you know, it's going full force. And then, you know, I may be able to, like, I guess, shove it away or whatnot temporarily, but then it, like, kind of creeps back up. And, yeah, I kind of just wanted to talk about that and kind of maybe ponder it a bit. I kind of just felt compelled to talk about it, record it, and see how I could maybe like talk myself through how I may have just perceived the video that I did, because he kind of had a very, you know, going back to the video that I watched, he had a very like negative and a very like warning type of oh no, he had a negative and warning type of, I guess, attitude, you know, like it was very much like, you better do this, or you better avoid this, or you're gonna end up like me, I guess. Which, you know, at the first time, maybe like hearing that or viewing that, I think it can be a little bit scary, especially, I guess, if, like me, if you've had some thoughts recently that may like, I don't know, exacerbate it, I guess. Gotta make sure I don't die here. But yeah. And it's so funny because I feel like I definitely made a video, one of my last few videos that I made on this channel was, you know, definitely along those lines, I want to say. Oh well. But I don't know. I'm trying to like gather my thoughts of like what exactly is the point of me even recording right now, or like trying to like talk about this. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I won't figure it out for the entirety of me recording this video. That just might be it. But, I think a reason why I want to try to, like, think through it is I feel like there's a reason, right? Like, you're not... I don't know. Maybe at first, like, I think, maybe I'm just, like, overthinking. Possibly. But... you know, maybe you're not. Maybe you're having this feeling for some sort of reason. For a legitimate reason, I guess. And kind of like, I guess what I was saying earlier, like maybe there isn't a perfect way. I don't know, for some reason in my mind, like I'm definitely one to like seek out advice. I definitely try to ask people who are older about like advice. Just like, hey, you know, when you were younger, what did you wish you did that you didn't, or what did you wish you did, yeah, that you didn't end up doing, I guess. Things like that. And when I'm in these, I guess, mindsets of like being worried about maybe time passing too quickly, I think I do that even more. Like I try to ask people questions like that to figure out what am I doing wrong. You know what I mean? What, you know, this person said they wish that they really did this, so maybe I need to change my behavior to this. And maybe being like frantic about it, or maybe trying to figure it out, maybe not in my best interest or anyone's. Because maybe that, like, you know, you think you may be like solving an issue by trying to figure it out, when maybe you just need to like start doing more or trying more or things like that. Yeah. What's funny is that either me or maybe other people may experience this type of feeling where they're like, oh no, like I'm not doing enough or time is passing. But then like you'll have these thoughts and you'll be, you know, you'll be having these thoughts in your mind, and then once maybe they don't bother you anymore, you kind of slip back into doing exactly what you did before instead of making a change. It's like you're getting this nudge, you know, for a specific reason. You're getting this nudge like, hey, you need to like do something. And you don't move, like it's trying to push you in a certain direction or any direction, and you don't move. And then it just happens again. I guess you're getting nudged again. You're just not moving. I wonder if that happens to a lot of people, but they don't act on it and end up in the position that the guy in the video that I watched is in. You know, I wonder if maybe he had those thoughts too when he was younger. He maybe he had the thoughts of like, maybe I should just be like, maybe I should be doing more, or maybe I should be like doing this instead. Whatever, I'm young, I have like a bunch of time, let's just keep doing whatever we were doing before. And you say that enough that, you know, you say that enough to yourself so many times that then you end up in the position of like, oh no, all this time has passed and I never really like maybe got things together, I guess. I don't know. That's just been a lot of what's been in kind of like my mind in the relative recent time. I don't even know if that's correct. The near past. The relative near past. There you go. like even, and I've seen people reference this before, but like even like I don't know, like I don't know, like playing video games, for example, I guess, like, you know, sometimes you can be doing that when you're like, man, maybe I should just, like, instead of like playing video games, maybe I should be going out and like hanging out with people. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, I think it's like, even on the small scale, it's things like that, right? Like, you know, with like your leisure or your free time, instead of maybe chasing like meaningful experiences, possibly like pursuing like meaningful relationships, like you kind of just do what may be considered nothing, I guess. I think a lot of people do that. I think more people do that than I thought, where, you know, with any free time that they may get outside of school or work, they kind of just like exist. Like they don't really like do anything, I guess. And that's where I feel like I may have sat for some time and still struggle to get out of, I guess. It's like, you don't really do anything like maybe meaningful with your time. You kind of just like drift. I think that's a part of that like aimlessness. Yeah. I think it may help if you aren't the type of person to really think. I think unfortunately in my case, like I'm a thinker. Like I just like, I think a lot. I think sometimes that's like to my detriment for sure. But yeah. And I think once I stop like thinking a lot, especially when I get into these episodes of, you know, being worried, maybe time's passing too quickly, I'm not doing enough, you know, I feel better. But that's great that I feel better, but also like, if you don't think, I guess you may end up like the guy in that video, potentially, if you don't think enough or like try to gauge where you're at or gauge what you're doing or really like analyze what you're doing, I guess, with your time. In a perfect world, you could just live this like carefree, aimless life and things would just fall into place. But I think that that's not always the case. Maybe some people get lucky and that works out for them. But I think for a lot of people, like, I think to maybe feel like you're really living life in a meaningful way, you have to be like intentional, I guess, about like how you live life. Yeah. And this definitely is not me saying one way is good or whatnot. This is me just like thinking through it, I guess. More so. I'm just kind of thinking through the video that I watched, the feelings that have been happening, things like that. I'm sure there's like, I guess, other people that are probably in a similar boat. I'm sure, like, I've seen videos and such where people kind of describe something similar where they're like, oh no, like, where's the time gone? I mean, you know, case in point, I guess, like that guy's videos that I watched, like, you know, like, it's definitely something that people run into. And like I said, maybe it's a matter of like, if you act on it, great. Things shift in a better way for you, but if you never act on those thoughts, You might just like end up in the same, you know, place that you are currently, but like 20 years later, let's say. I mean, I certainly do not know everything. I have so much to learn in life. I feel like there's so many things that I have to improve on. And I think that's why like I try to fit in comments if I'm like recording like this and talking, that, you know, this is me like thinking through it and take it with a grain of salt. Like I wouldn't take this, form your own perspective, I guess, for, you know, what you hear. Because maybe whatever I say or whatever I may recommend or mention may not work for you. You know, everybody's different. Yeah. I was gonna make a video about like the video that I actually like today. I was going to record and try to make another video that was like super structured, super edited, and whatnot, because I was like, oh, this could be cool. It's kind of a cool topic or whatnot. And I just kind of stopped in the middle of editing. I kind of realized, like, with what I wanted to do, like, the barrier between me being able to like create something and have it be a finished product, the barrier meaning like the work to be put in, I guess, was a good bit. That's definitely something that I do like a lot, that I don't like that I do. I feel like if I had this like drone-like mindset of like just turning your brain off and working, I guess, like I'd be able to do a lot. But that's just not the case. Like I feel like I'm a creative person, but like I feel like my obstacle or hurdle is like the work to put in, to put whatever creative thoughts or ideas I have into action, onto paper. I don't know. I think that's like my limiting factor. I guess maybe at the end of the day, it's a choice of like, are you going to let that be a barrier, or are you going to break it down and just do? I think sometimes you think you have like all the time in the world, especially when you're young. So you may like put off things, or you feel more okay with not taking action, right? Because you have this like, there's this illusion that you have like so much time, and you do to a certain extent, but also like, I guess experiencing what I've experienced, like time moves so fast. Quicker than you think. And once you like really realize that, it gets really scary, I think. At least for me, it got really scary. Yeah. But maybe worrying about that at all, you know, I think I kind of mentioned this before earlier, like maybe worrying about that at all is just, you know, a waste of time. It's kind of like there's conflicting things here, because maybe worrying about it is just going to make the time that you do have maybe kind of just suck because you're worrying. But in the same token, like if you don't worry and you don't have these thoughts of like, yeah, like I guess like if you don't worry and you just kind of are like, oh, whatever about it, then like you may do nothing, and then you're gonna end up in this position if you do nothing for so long, you know? You may not be in a good spot. I guess it also kind of depends on like the person, right? Some people may have more ambitious goals or more, it just kind of depends on how your brain is, right? Some people don't require these fantastical things to be done in their life in order to feel fulfilled. Some people, they just need to, you know, be happy once in a while, I guess, and they're good. Or, you know, maybe they just need to just have like some sort of more simple approach to life, and that is good. That works for them. It's kind of the luck of the draw, I think, mentally, like where you land with that. Or, you know, it's just kind of just random. Maybe not luck of the draw, but it's just random kind of where you may land with that. But one thing I know for sure is I don't like how fast time moves. And maybe it slows down if you live life in a certain way, you know? But what I've gathered from people who are older seems like it just gets faster. Like the older you get, like 10 years, like goes in a blink of an eye is how it's described, at least. So, yeah. I may not have like anything more to think about or expand on. Kind of just in this like limbo state mentally where I don't really have anything in my head. So I don't know, I may end it here. It seems like everything that I just talked about was so like scatterbrained and maybe not super, I don't know. I definitely felt like all over the place. But that's just kind of how it is when you are not following a script, I guess. I still also don't really know like the big overarching reason for me even like recording myself talking and thinking and whatnot and sharing that. Like I'm not really sure. It kind of feels like art in a way. I was kind of talking to somebody about like what is art? You know, like really like diving into that question or whatnot. What does art have to be? Does it have to be anything or whatnot? Like this in a way kind of feels like art. Because it's like sort of intentional. But maybe art doesn't have to be intentional. That's a whole nother tangent. But yeah, maybe it kind of feels like art in a way. It's kind of cool. But yeah, I guess I'll go ahead and end the video here. Hopefully you may have gotten something out of this. Not completely sure if I could say that I did. Although, you know, it's been good to kind of like talk about and think through some things for sure. But yeah. I think I'm gonna go ahead and end the video, so peace.